my name is Saksham Dikshit and this is my channel Pentest Diary. So today I'll make another video on the same series of lazy programming series itself, and this is a 31st lecture of in a Python series itself. And finally we have reached to the point where I'm just explaining about the class and the object, and this is a major portion which the last challenge which I have given to you itself, that will be get it solved using the class and the object. But as I have not explained you about the class and object, that was the reason I have not make that content with that class and object. I'm using different ways just to make it multiple functions inside of it. But instead of that, if we are aware about the class object, definitely we can utilize the class object in this way. So now I'm just covering the class and object, and there might be 1 or 2 or 3 lectures on the class and object with multiple variants or multiple flavors itself. I'll try all the possibilities, whatever the possibility present over there in the class and object. I'll try my best to get it complete that. So basically we talk about the class and the object. What's the need of the class and object in a Python itself? That's a main question everyone will have it in mind. Like we have functions, we have other things in a place itself, why we need the class. So basically if we want something to be get it defined, take example. I'll just give it an example first, make you understand about with a practical way, then I'll try to read the content first so that you can able to correlate. This content is not like, even if I'll read for you, you're not able to understand well. The reason is that you can't correlate the stuffs. Like once you're trying to understand that thing, once you see the code, when you're trying to correlate the code with that output, then you can able to understand. So practically when we are talking about the class itself, so basically class is an umbrella term which we can say that inside of that we can put multiple instances inside of it. So multiple instances in the context, I can say that I can put a variables, I can put a functions inside of it, and that as per the need we can get it call as per the need itself. Whatever the entries we want to get it put inside of it, we can use it as per the need itself. So there is a class and there is an object. So object is coming where we are giving the values to that. So when we want those things are functions, variables, whatever we are defining inside of the class, we wanted that to be get it call. Then in that case we have to define, like we simply have to give some path, we simply have to give some actual address, like address in the context like a pointer over there itself from where we want to get it call that. So that we call it as an object where we are defining it. Okay, the name of the class is I can say that a labor. Then in that case, if I just want to make an object over there itself in that code, then in that case I will give it some variable name, then I have to put equal to, then if I'll try to call a function, then in that case I have to put labor dot function one. If I want to call any variable which is present in the class itself, I simply have to put labor dot the variable name. So this is the symmetry by which we can utilize the classes. You might be asked like what's the need of it? I can do it with any other way also. So if we're talking about the longer code where we are looking for thousands of entry, lakhs of entry, in that case itself, instead of making that again and again and again, we can utilize it as per the need. We can define it just an object over there itself. We can make one object, we can make n number of object as per our need. We can put the entries and that to be get it capture as per our entries, as per our requirement itself. We can make n number of objects itself if we require it. So class will be once we can define it, but if we want to get it utilized multiple ways, we can make many objects over there itself just to get it utilized that. So take example, if I can say Ankur is one of the guy. So with the Ankur name, I want to make one object, and whatever that functions, variables, entries I want to put it on the name of Ankur, I can utilize the same class, put those entries on the behalf of Ankur itself. So I'm making an instance name as Ankur itself. If I'll take another example as Rohan, then in that case, in place of Rohan, I'll be making as a I can say the object, and then inside of the class, I'll try to utilize variables. I can utilize the functions, and whatever the functions having the variables, those things I can use it. So that thing we can do it very easily using the class method itself and the object one. Now I hope you're able to understand that operations we can do it, and we want to get it print also, we can do those things with using a class and object. That's the basic concept behind it. Now I'll read the content for you. I know you're not able to understand with this, but still I'll put it that so that you are if you want to read it just to memorize the stuffs about it, you can do it very well with the need itself. Okay, so that I'll try my best to get it covered over here itself. So let me read it for you. So the class and the object are the basic concepts in object oriented programming. Oops, most of the time you heard about the oops many ways, like basically when we are learning a C++, we are most of the time heard about the oops itself. So oops is a basic concept, I can say the main concept behind it, object oriented programming, and this is the foundation of it, which always be required in most of the interviews when we are preparing for it. Oops, most of the persons are asking for the concepts related to the oops itself. So make sure you will mastery these things, at least on a beginner level you are aware about the oops very well, so that you can give the answer clarity to the interviewer at the time when they will ask you the question related to the oops itself. Okay, this is one of the basic thing. I'm just not covering the oops completely over here itself. This is just one of the thing. I'm just giving you the idea about it, but to learn the stuff from the scratch itself you should know these things. I'm just assuming it the people are aware about it, but if you're not, then definitely you have to read those things with the multiple channels. If you want it, put it in the comment section. If you require the appropriate links for it, I'll definitely share that links with you so that you can go through it and learn those concepts very well before going further with that. Okay, so Python supports a oops, and just to overview about the class and the objects, we have to define like in such a way itself a class, then the object itself, and that object to be get utilized with a variable. These things in a later phase itself we're talking about in a code, like in a next lecture I can say that the instance. So we will talk about it like is there any possibility with the object instance can we modify the class instance or not? So that's also one of the tweak question most of the people will ask you when you're preparing for the interview itself, or when you're making the code. It's definitely there might be like in a security professionals domain itself, definitely when you are when anyone is provide you the code and they will ask you about it, how you can identify the bugs inside of it, and whether is there any problem inside of the code, whether this code will be run well or not. So they are just looking for it, how much concept you have, like whether you have a clarity in your concept or not. You just mug up the stuffs, or you really know about it whether it's feasible or not. So that's also another thing which you have to be remember always. That concept of the instance I will definitely be cover in the next video, that I'm not covering over here itself. This is over here just a class and the object itself, and I may prepare the code also for it so that you can able to understand that very well. So if we just talking about, I'll just talk about the practical part. This is a content which I can read it for you, but it doesn't mean anything. Like a class is a blueprint of creating objects, so it means nothing for you. You're not able to understand what actually we are talking about the blueprints. What type of blueprint is it? So it doesn't mean anything. With a concept, with a code itself, you can correlate the steps. Okay, this is the class, how we make the class, this looks like a class itself. So that thing we just have to memorize instead of going just to read the same jargons type of stuffs with multiple places. No, it doesn't mean anything to you, and this will not give you anything. It defines a set of the attributes and the methods that creates object instances of the class will have. Okay, so by this way itself you can make a class based instances which we can utilize it in later phase itself when we are trying to make the code itself. So this is the appropriate way by which we are defining it. Class is a, I can say that, a keyword which we have to use it, and after that we have to give the name of the class. Make sure that you have to put the colon after that. Then this is the stuff which we call it as an instance coming under that category, not the variable. I can say that it's an instance, whatever that coming under this category, it's a part of the class instance itself. So whatever we can call this, we call it as an instance itself. Okay, so now if you're talking about like how this is attribute, this is an instance, this is an instance, this is another instance. So instance we call it as a functions when we are defining any function inside of it, and inside of that functions whatever the variable be defining over there itself, that we can utilize it in the object section when we are calling outside the class itself. So that's, this is the syntax which we are using it, like in our code also we are making it, but this is just example. I'm just showcasing to you how the class looks like. Now if we're talking about the object, so how exactly the object? So object is an instance of a class. When a class is defined, no memory is allocated until an object of that class is created. So there is no mean of the class. If even if you define any class inside of any code, it means nothing till the object is not defined. Like if you're not utilizing it anywhere, there is no means of the class itself. Object are the real world entities created using the class blueprints. So that entity we are creating using the class blueprint itself. So object is totally based on the class itself, but without the object class having no mean. So that's one of the main concept behind it, and we will see like how to define it, the object itself, just to get that clarity on it, how to utilize that instances of the class, the variable, attribute of it, everything. We'll just try to get it covered. Now this is the way by which we are defining the object. So over here itself you can see this is the this you can see that the class name, but if I'll try to get it define the object, so any name, anything I can define as an instance, I can say that a object name, then to get it define a class I have to put it, and these are the values I try to get it pass over there itself, so that it will get it identified directly be here itself, and we get the appropriate output. What I mean by that, I will let you know about it. Now accessing the attributes and the method, this is the way which we can do that. Like this is later phase after the code, like this is not a part of the class, this is outside the class itself. We are defining it, we are utilizing the class using the object just to get that stuffs to be in place itself. Once you have an object, you can access its attribute and the methods using the dot notation. So it means like whenever we'll try to call anything, any class instance itself, or I can say that attribute, then in that case definitely we have to utilize the object. With the object notation, we can use any variable which we can call it as an attribute, and the instances also which we call it as a function over there itself. Okay, how we do that, this is the code which we have defined it, and by that way you can able to understand. In this video itself, I'm not going with the theory part a lot. The thing is that I just want you to make you understand about the concept behind it and how exactly this will work. Instead of reading the lot of things, I'll put it in a slides itself and make you like read the content multiple times having no meaning for it. Like I wanted that to be a bit practical so that you can able to understand with the code. Now let me go to the code part itself so that you can see and visualize the main concept behind it. Okay, so perfect. So this is the code which you can see that this is the same code which we have it in a phase wise in a class, in an object, and in an attribute and the method by itself. I try to get it mapped and combined in one so that we can get the output, how we get it mapped and how we get that output if we are trying to combine everything in one lecture or in one script itself. Okay, so this is the class section which we are defining it. This is one of the attribute we are giving it, the value we are giving inside of it, a canis. Now I'm defining one of the function over itself, and I'm taking two inputs over here itself, name and the age. Name and age value we are trying to get it pass. When we are making the object and we want to pass some value, then in that case we have to take two values to be get it pass over here itself. That to be coming under self dot name and equal to name itself. So whatever the value I'm giving over here itself, that to be get it shipped to the self dot name. And the another way I can say that self dot age, whatever the age I'm trying to get it pass, it should be going inside of the self dot age itself. Now going further with that, if I talk about the description itself, so over here itself we are not passing anything. I'm just assuming it like we are not passing anything, we are utilizing it. So what we are doing it over here itself, self dot name. So we are taking this value over here itself in another variable, and self dot age also I'm utilizing. So inside of that class itself, whatever the instances we have it, which we call it as a function itself, that we are taking the variables to be get it utilized directly over here itself. That's also one of the thing which we can do it in case of class. Now over here itself also the sound value we're trying to get it pass, and that the name and the sound we are trying we will get it. Okay, we'll see that later phase itself. So now what I'll do, I will just define one of the object over here itself, and with the object I'm defining giving a name of the class. Then I'm passing two values, a body and the age is 3. So don't think like this, these name and the age I have defined it. This is nothing like that. This is automatically be reflected by the PyCharm itself. So I'm giving only two values, a body and the 3. These things is auto populated, so that if I try to get it highlighted, you can't see that. Even I can't remove it also. Okay, so it's automatically be get it defined like this is the name and this is the age. So when we are calling it, it will automatically go to the name and the age itself. Now these are the access, the objects, attributes and the methods. So how we call it, these are the all the commands where we are accessing the objects. using the object for utilizing the attributes and the method itself. So by that way itself I'm getting the results accordingly. What I'll do, I'll put the object name and then the dot notation I have to use it. So first I just want to print the name, so I'll simply have to put the name itself as the object is my underscore dog, then the name itself over here, then we have to put the age, then is I can say the species. So species I can put it like this. So this is just I can say the attribute, so I'll simply have to use it by this way. Now if I'll talk about the description itself, I will call the description also. So description is also one of the thing I can utilize it directly itself. So I'll put it over here itself, and whatever the things is we can return it, that to be get it returned. So over here itself I'll try to get it call the instance directly instead of going with this. So we don't have any variable inside of it, we are returning the value. So that returning value will be get it printed in our case itself when we are trying to call this description. Okay, and if we're talking about the next section, that is the speak itself, that we are passing the value as sound. So whatever, I'll put it the value as a verb itself, that is the value I'm just trying to get it passed to the sound, and that to be get it printed. So when we are trying to get it print, the value to be get it copied for the name from the top, and the sound, whatever the value we are trying to get it passes, that to be get it take, and that to be get it printed. So that's all about the stuff which is coming under the category of the class and the object. Let me run the code and then you can able to understand more about it. So over here itself you can see, like initially I just want to print the name, then in that case I'm getting the name as Buddy. If I'll try to print the age, I can get the age at 3. If I'll try to go for the species, that's an attribute, I can get the name of it, which I have already defined in the initial phase of the class itself. And if I'll talk about the description itself, so when we talk about the description, two values to be get it utilized from one function to the another function itself, that to be we are utilizing it. So in that case itself, the age will be get it copied and the name of that will be get it copied, and rest the value whatever f string we are defining it, everything to be get it printed as it is. Now going to the last section where we are taking the value as a woof itself, and we are copying from the I can say that a value from one of the instance itself. So that is the name, we are copying it, and this is the value we are trying to get it passes, and it get it print as we need it. Okay, so I hope you're able to understand the concept behind the class and the object. This is just an introductory thing for the class and object. I try my best few other things to be get it copied in the later phase of other lectures itself of the classes when I try to make the content for it. And definitely this is just a beginning, but the thing is that when if you have a doubt itself, just go with this video once again itself with the documentation, see that examples, and don't copy it. Don't go with the way like this is the basic, like you just have reference point is always be for you like a documentation, which I'll always be put it in my description section of the video itself, so that you will have a habit to read the documentation all the time of the Python, instead of reading, just learning, mug up the stuffs, and you can't go anywhere. Like there is a lot of thing to be innovate every day itself, and new concept will be get introduced in a market. You should be read the documentation after a frequency of, I can say that 2 months or 3 months, having a habit of it. Just whatever the updates they are releasing it, just try to read the documentation, so that you know that what are the new things, new libraries, new modules is getting introduced to the latest version of the Python. Okay, so that's all about this stuff. I just want to get it covered in this video itself. If you like this video, please subscribe my channel. Thank you so much once again. Take care. Bye bye.